Good evening and welcome to the Car Sim and Race Driver Show. And we've got a full house tonight because we've got Andrew Marr, we've got Jonathan Sutherland, and we've got me as well. Hugh Hattrick is your host of the Car Sim and Race Driver Show. Where else would you rather be? How are you all tonight, lads?
I'm very well. I've just called into Podbean, so do whatever you need to do at your end.
Yep, it should be in. It's all working as far as I can see. We've got, yes, you are online, and I think Jonathan is just about to arrive as well on.
I think I should be. If you let me in, I should be allowed in.
Let me in.
All right, yep.
Your call is
online.
connected.
There we go.
My
Fantastic.
goodness me, I'll just turn that volume down before we robot.
Every time.
So, welcome to. Oh, I can hear quite a bit of echo there. It's great to have you all on the show, and to all our listeners and viewers, you're watching the Car Sim and Race Driver Show, and you can probably hear an echo, or maybe it's just me. But yes, we have got a packed show for you tonight because Andrew came up with a great idea about saying who is the silliest man in motoring.
Oh, come on, give it its proper title. Do you remember, if anyone's old enough to remember That's Life, they used to have a wooden spoon award every week to people that were just basically being idiots. Well, our own version is Div of the Week, or you could say Divvy of the Week. I mean, how do you want to do it? It's I'm open to suggestions.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
I don't want to be too polite about it, as we seem to be. Where's your picture of Trump? As we seem to be working on the principle of upsetting as many people as possible, we might as well do it properly. Anyway, Div of the Week. So each week we can highlight a person that's been particularly stupid, said something stupid, been a bit dim in the world of motoring or F1 or whatever we like, I suppose, whatever. And I did come up with a name this week.
Who is the name?
The name is Dr. Helmut Marko, because I read of something he said recently about COVID-19 infections. He wanted to set up a special virus camp and send his drivers to them so they get it. Because they're young and tough, and then they'll be ready for racing.
Always should be very suspicious of Germans or Austrians sending people to camps. That's my advice to anybody. Yeah.
Exactly. You're thinking, shut up. and all the other people in Red Bull will be going, no, he didn't really mean that. That's not, you've misunderstood his strange accent or something. No, they didn't. He was just an idiot. He's spent years doing and saying whatever the hell he likes, and he's got too much power. So, like most powerful old men, he started talking codswallop. I like that word, codswallop.
That is a good one. I can hear a bit of an echo. I don't know if our listeners...
Yeah, it's probably my phone. I can't get the sound to go off on the phone at all. So on the Podbean, for some reason, I can normally turn the volume down, and it just won't turn down.
Can you turn the sound right off? Can I mute the sound?
I've muted it. That's maybe it. Yeah.
That's better. That's better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's better.
Good. It means that you won't be able to hear me though. That's the only thing. So I don't really know what it's up to.
I'll check on Podbean and see if there's any comments. Please feel free to comment on all of our platforms, whether it be on Podbean or on YouTube, or if you're on our Facebook page at the Car Sim and Race Driver Show, and let us know your thoughts and what you would like us to talk about. If there's any specific questions you may have. Good evening to Anne Salamino. It's good to see you. And welcome again to the show, one of our regular contributors and viewers of the show. Now, I wanted to have a quick shout out because tomorrow at 12 o'clock, or roughly about 12:15, I've got Josh Martin coming on the show. Do you remember Josh Martin, you two?
Is he the lead singer of Coldplay?
Not quite.
No, that's somebody else. Sorry, Chris Martin. That's right.
Yes, with Apple.
Josh Martin is an esports driver, and he helped set up the Mercedes World that we went to for all the simulators. And he's got some very exciting news about what kind of races he's going to be doing, and also he can give you tips as well. on how to get your lap times down on GT Sport and all the kind of simulation and games on your PlayStation and Xbox and things like that. So he is going to be joining us tomorrow at 12:15. It will just be on YouTube. It won't be on Podbean. It'll just be on YouTube, but it should be very good. He's a really, really decent guy. He's a fellow Scot, and he's very young, but he's really made it into the big time.
Yeah.
So, so it'll be really worth.
That's pretty interesting, actually. I'd quite like to know about sort of the new projects. You probably can't talk about what he's got planned or what other manufacturers are planning to do in the future, but that might be a really interesting discussion. See what the chat is there. Definitely.
Well, he helps to set up all the Formula One esports events all around the world, and also some of the American ones as well. It's because everybody's got it in the States. They've got IndyCar esports. They've got, I think it's World Endurance. They've got esports. So in all of that, there's a huge amount to it. And the thing is about esports, anybody can have a go. That's the brilliant thing about it. You can literally buy yourself a computer or get the game, and then that's it done. And you can actually have a go, and you can get good. And if you can learn how to get your lap times competitive, you can really have a fantastic career potentially, even if it's just voluntary, that's for fun. But you can have a great career in motorsport through esports, and goodness knows what you can win. I mean, we've had countless stuff that we've been able to do, and we're just very amateur in how we do it. So it's a great way in for people to learn how to drive and learn how to race and get your race etiquette up to date, or maybe you don't get so much etiquette in racing when you play PlayStation games is what we've experienced.
There wasn't much race etiquette on the karting on Gran Turismo last night, that's for sure. I ended up flying over the bridge rather than under it.
We should have a quick chat about that, because anyone who's been playing PlayStation on Gran Turismo this week, and there's 3 races. There is one in the go-karts. It's the shifter go-karts at Tsuba circuit. Then there is at Dragon Tail, is at the short Dragon Tail Gardens. It's Group 4, and then it's Suzuka at Group 2, which always seems to be every few weeks. But the go-karts are hilarious fun though. Yeah, you've been doing it quite a lot, John. What you can describe what it's like.
I have in the GT3 and GT4 cars. It's absolutely fine if you hit a cone. However, you hit a cone in the go-kart, you end up about 55 feet in the air, going backwards at 95 miles an hour, and it's all a little bit alarming. Racing etiquette, I don't know about that. That seems to have gone completely out the window. The damn things are so twitchy. You turn the wheel like that, and it just zips off to the right. Then you stop playing on the go-karts, you move back to a Group 4 car, and you just don't turn the wheel enough, and you just go straight into a wall because you're used to the steering being way more direct. The first corner on the GT4s, I always just go straight on. Yeah. I just don't turn the wheel enough.
It's horrible. You really got to practice, haven't you? Because the Dragon Tail Gardens is a great track. I have to say, I really love it. And I've done I was at it for hours yesterday. I must have done about 2 or 3 hours worth of practice on there just to try and do it. I did one race, but I started 5th and I ended up 7th. But I hadn't done practice before I did the race, and I ended up doing practice after it. But you've really got to get a lot of practice, because it's a tough. If you can do good lap times there, I think you can do really well. And in the end, I managed to get a 1:37.9. So I managed to get into that. So I'm about 1.2 seconds off the top time. And
that's pretty good. I just cannot get to grips with the particularly turn 1. It just, I don't know how, either go in way too fast or too slow. I've never got it just right. And then you've got to get, hang on, turn 1, 2, 3, turn 4, where you come onto the back straight. You've really got to get that right, or you just lose a gob of time.
It's the chicane. And the first one is all linked up. So you've got to come, obviously you're going flat out on the straight, and then depending what car you're in, I think I was in the Alpha. I'm normally in like 6th gear, and then you come down into 5th, and then or you might be in 5th gear, and then you're coming in a little bit in 4th, and then you kind of go flat out in 4th to try and exit as fast as you can as you come into the chicane, which is quite a long chicane. There's those 3 corners, but if you can just somehow connect them up, you can use a lot of curb, then you get a good exit. Yeah, that really helps you as you head on the back straight.
I was hoping to get down to about 139 on it, but I just can't seem to get down to 137 at all. I don't think I'll be able to find the time. So maybe a couple of hours tonight. That might be the key when we stop the stream.
We can do a lobby afterwards, and we can do a ghost run.
Yeah, you can show me your lines. Absolutely. Yeah.
Because we can do that. It's quite good fun. You see, Andrew, you're missing out. You need to get a PlayStation so you can.
I got PlayStation 3.
All right. I don't know if it has. Does it Gran Turismo? I don't know if it works on GT Sport. If it works on PlayStation 3.
I've got games for it.
All right.
Got PlayStation 3. Yeah, that's
But no, it's great fun. I mean, the thing is, I reckon though, the practice that we've done, although I think actually sometimes in real life it's easier to drive racing cars on the track than it is in the simulator, or certainly on Gran Turismo. I think I was speaking to Steve Barron a wee while ago, and he was saying that things like iRacing and Assetto Corsa and those kind of ones, you know, the proper simulators that they all do on the big esports platforms, they're much harder because it's like the go-karts again. You have much lighter inputs to get the same movement. And
through race car and that everything's knife edged.
Yeah, well, GT Sport's quite heavy. Apart from the go-karts, it's quite a heavy kind of response. But although I think when I drove that Mercedes at quite reasonable speed, it was natural. You know, it felt quite. You know, I was kind of learning. I was kind of expecting what was going to happen, and that's what surprised me. Just how accurate it was in the car, in the real car, and how much easier it was in the real car. To be fair, you know, which was incredible.
So maybe the F1 drivers should be getting paid more now they're furloughed than when they're actually driving the real cars, because they all seem to be driving their simulators, don't they? And most of them on their Instagrams, you can see their sim setups, and there's some pretty impressive setups they've got there. Some of them, the Fanatec wheels and the big seats and stuff.
Aye.
And I think they have been furloughed by the teams, so it's quite nice to know the British taxpayers probably paying 75% of their salary.
Well, yes, up to £2,500.
Up to £2,500. Yeah, they might have to cut their lifestyle back a bit. A few less private jet trips for Mr. Hamilton.
Judging by Twitch, the Lando Norris lifestyle seems to be sitting on that sim anyway. So
is that what he does?
I'm always getting emails saying Lando Norris is live. He's been doing a hell of a lot like that. It's been quite interesting.
Yeah, he did a big one on Sunday. I think it was. He did a big. It was a big event on Sunday.
Twice a day, he's on there.
Aye.
You know, he's on in the evening usually, but he's on all the time. And talking about pay, Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris have taken a cut in pay because everyone in McLaren has been sent home, apart from the people who are building these ventilators. There's this Project Pit Lane.
Yeah.
A group of them. I've got a list of who they are here. Not in my memory.
Who's going to get the Williams ventilator? It'll turn up too late.
You just stop it, young man. I don't know.
The Haas one. Yeah, Grosjean's probably put it together. Yeah. What the fucking hell? Where's the ventilators? It is not ready.
Why are you breaking
Steiner? Yes.
This is the one you smash into the ball. All you have to do is walk down the corridor.
Stop whining. We'll get you the ventilator.
You breathe. Stop whining.
I will take Toto Wolff's ventilator. That'll be absolutely fine. But he'll get a good one designed.
He's done an amazing job apparently because they've got the first ones out. They've reverse engineered a breathing aid called the CPAP, continuous positive airway pressure device.
Mm-hmm.
First engineered it in less than 100 hours, and they're churning them out. They're being tested by 3 hospitals in London now.
Well, I mean, these F1 guys, their engineers are pretty sharp, aren't they?
Even the bad ones.
Even the bad ones, yeah.
Bad ones. So
are you an engineer? Roo, you're an engineer, aren't you? What sort of engineer are you?
I do chemistry with the chemicals.
Oh, you're a chemical engineer. Ah, yeah. I see.
Alchemicalist. I make green.
You make my finest green.
Green. And if somebody would like to ask me what I'm going to do with it, I can finish the quote.
What are you going to do with it?
Who knows or dares to dream? This purest nugget of purest green. It's a splat, isn't it?
Oh, good old Blackadder. That was excellent. Was that Blackadder 2?
That was Blackadder 2, the best.
Yeah, very good.
Now you wouldn't get that anywhere else. Only on the Car 7 Race Driver Show.
Exactly. Get Blackadder quotes.
Because we're nerds, proud of it. We need to find a way of doing a song a bit like Robin Hood Men in Tights, where manly men in tights, but for nerds. Is there a nerd song that we could do? We're nerds, manly nerds in
Grand Prix enthusiasts.
in a scene. I don't
By
know.
the way, Ant has said that Rue's new CPU is a hamster with one leg missing.
Well, your CPU?
Yeah.
My CPU is a top quality, top of the range i5 from some years ago with 2 whole cores. So,
Well, the thing was, I thought my computer was quite reasonable at 32 gig until I found out that Steve Alvarez Brown's new gaming PC has 64 gig. All sorts of amazing chips and things that makes it all run. But then he's got 6 fans coming. He's building it himself. Similarly, he's got 6 fans to keep it all cool. It's that powerful or something. But so goodness me,
it might end up being the Triumph Stag of computers.
Yeah, exactly. It's like overheating problem.
Well, it was a good idea at the time. I was looking on eBay. There was a computer I want, and it was only, I think it's 380 quid. Reconditioned. It's 32 gig of RAM and twin chip. Each chip with 6 cores. And I'm thinking, wow, because, when I first started building the things for myself, it was, I think I had a 386 DX66 with about a kilobyte of RAM, not really, a little bit more than that, but it wasn't much more than that. It's like a meg of RAM.
Yeah.
My hard disk was significantly smaller than the RAM I've got in this old computer here. So you can shut up, Ant.
But no, it's amazing. Going back to these kind of e-races that we've seen so far, on at the weekend there with Lando Norris, they are getting a bit better. They still had the same commentators, mind you. The one was David Thingy from 5 Live. He was quite good, or Jack
Nicholson. Yeah,
Nicholson. He was good, but even he was getting fed up with the other commentator and said, "What kind of question is this?" And they were supposed to be getting on with each other, but it was done with the Sky backing. But I was quite surprised that they didn't have, the main presenters, because really,
and Crofty.
Yeah, that's what they really need in there. But then Sky decided to do, a few of our viewers may have seen it already, they did a podcast, or a kind of video cast with the Sky presenters. And it was absolutely appalling. The quality was terrible. It reminded me of what they're doing in America, with all these late night show hosts that have done their own show in their bedroom or in their hall. And they can't even afford a camera that's even got any kind of...
you think the studio would send them one or something, some kind of
That's such a con, by the way, these celebrities who do these shows. People have worked out that it's actually the same house they're all going to. Because certain camera shots, they've seen the way it's laid out and the doors, and it's actually the same house. So what they've done, sort of virtue signal, is basically move out of Manhattan, which might make sense, I suppose. And they've obviously found a house somewhere where they all go to, and they just film it from there. Because the film crews are there, the quality is reasonably good in most cases. But yeah, they're all just going to a house. It's hilarious. Complete scam.
Because it looks like one's got a hallway to stairs or something like that, and then the other one's in his bedroom or in a wee room somewhere. And you think they're supposed to be these multi-millionaire.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like the celebrities with the lockdown. The celebrities have really excelled themselves, by the way, in this lockdown. I think we should all go out at 8 p.m. to clap the celebrities. We should go and do that, because without that, imagine all the people and them doing selfies from their mansions. How would we get through this lockdown? I have no idea.
Exactly. And they got I follow some of them that I'm vaguely interested in. They're quite pretty on Instagram, and
yes,
I've stopped looking because I'm the only one. Ellie Taylor's really funny because she's so completely frazzled by her daughter. She's up at 5 a.m. going, she films herself. I'm thinking, yeah, that's quite funny actually. The match report from her bedroom. And what she does is she shows a sort of before and after of her looking like she's not showered for 2 days, as she admits. And then she gets all the makeup on. She goes, "Look, I'm back," And then she shows all the stuff she's set up in the corner, and she's got some pretty good lighting gear there. Like she's put the effort in to make it look a bit professional. She's just a comedian, She's not like a multi-millionaire. Maybe she is. She might be right now. But you get the idea. She's not like these people in Hollywood. But the ones that bug me is when it looked like Jessica Chastain, fantastic actress, funny as anything, mad as a box of frogs, going, we love you and you're not alone, and I'm going a bit crazy as well, and then she shows outside, and there's this beach.
Yeah.
Everybody there, and
Yeah, a private beach.
they were isolated before, love, and then they show the lunch
Yeah.
delivered specially for them, cooked by somebody, and you're like,
Yeah.
I've got to go shopping tomorrow. I'm really worried about it because I haven't got a car. I've got to carry all this stuff, and I don't want to get arrested for having to go to the shops too many times, you know.
Well, that's right. You'll get arrested by the Stasi, won't you?
Yeah,
So
it's
what are they
just-
like down there? Are you on full house arrest, or are they being a bit sensible?
There have been people that have been done, but I've got to be fair. Don't like to be, but I've got to be fair. They've been pretty good around here. They're doing people doing stupid things. For example, Scouse couples going to their caravans.
Right.
Liverpool. Oh, we wanted to come down here and self-isolate. Get back in your car and go back home.
Yeah. Well, you get stupid, panicky people doing stupid, panicky people things. That's the trouble. So.
And also selfish, I want to do what I want things, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Get lost. Go away. So, yeah, there've been people being done. But I have heard, I was listening to 5 Live the other day, and there was people calling in about the way they've been spoken to. Very intrusive by the police and stuff like this in that area.
Yeah, well, I've downloaded the legislation onto my phone, so I can refer the police to exactly which bit they're arresting me for. It doesn't say anywhere you're not allowed to go out more than once a day. It doesn't actually say that. So I'd have it out with them if they have a go. Or just take the fine.
I suppose, does it go on your record? Because your criminal record, probably. But,
Somehow, yeah.
But no, it is quite funny.
Social credit score.
I haven't seen so much from the racing drivers, to be fair. They've not been doing an awful lot. I think they've been quite reasonable.
Well, did Lewis Hamilton not do something stupid? Hang on his Instagram feed. He was
Again, I've
was
actually
being
undone him.
a little bit of a tit, put it that way.
I'm not entirely sure what you mean.
Lewis Hamilton, there he is. He's maybe got a new tattoo. He seems to be praying in the sea through this tough time. I hope and pray you are safe at home with your families or somewhere safe. Yeah, it's all a bit emosh, really. Yeah.
Now we have a very sensible question from one of our viewers.
Oh yes.
From Ant again. He says, "What will the effect be on F1 now that the new rules have been pushed back to 2023?"
Well, that's not been confirmed yet, Ant. In an interview on BBC Sport, Andrew Benson was talking to Christian Horner. Christian Horner said that there's been a very nice discussion, a very, mostly agreement on how they want it pushed back further than 2022. They want it to 2023 because the idea of bringing in the race season and developing the new cars all next year is just too expensive. So, because the budget cap's coming next year anyway, isn't it? So they're going to have the budget cap, they're going to have the same cars they've got this year, but developing the next cars as well, and trying to get the races together, the 22 races, and having a late this year. And they've got to get it ratified by the FIA, but they all seem to want it. I thought it was an April Fool to start with, but it's a number of different websites, and no one's...
Yeah, because it's quite interesting.
It's April Fool, but it seems to be legit.
Because they're kind of aiming for potentially starting the season in July. It could actually be the British Grand Prix, which would be quite an interesting way to start the year. And they would just go right the way through and even have event after event. Some Martin Brundle was saying they could even have a Saturday-Sunday event, or maybe even like 2 races at Silverstone. Just to try and to build up, or to, if races have been cancelled, to try and take the place of them. Which I think would be something, because I think
like double stacking in one circuit. That kind of idea.
I think that would be quite reasonable.
And I think touring cars.
Yeah. I think that's something that
you
they
could have the reverse grid idea, couldn't you?
Yes, you could try to hold completely new stuff out. That would be great.
That's what they do. British touring cars, they have the 3 races, don't they? And they have qualifying.
The reverse grid.
The first race, second race, you're in the order
that you finished.
And then the third race is something else. I can't remember, but it's something.
They pick them out of the hat, I think, sometimes, don't they?
Yes, it's a draw, isn't it? The third race is actually like the pools.
Aye.
The pools exist.
Yeah. Now, to everyone listening and also watching our live stream, we have a new website. My HughHattrick.com website is up and running, and you can see all the videos there on the home screen. You can see all the offers that we have as well, and there's more coming every day. I've been busily trying to get it all up and sorted. And thanks to Harry at Breaking Media for making the website, because I'm really, really pleased with it. But you can let us know as well. And remember, feel free to comment. You can comment on the Car Sim and Race Driver Show on our Facebook page and also on YouTube as well. We'd love to hear your comments and to hear your questions. Now, oh yeah, Ant is saying, stand by your car, start to the race. So what's the stand by your car?
Is that like a Le Mans start?
All right, yeah, stand by your car to start the race. But now
The trouble is, you've got to put on your kind of harness, your hands device, get your water bottle.
Is he talking about running into the car and starting? I don't think you'd be able to do that in a modern F1 car.
Well, that'd be all right. They could just set off. You know, when you're in a hurry, you set off and you're sorting your seatbelt off as you drive out the drive. They could be doing that, sort of just doing their helmets up as they're going down the back straight. It'd be brilliant. That'd be an excellent idea. Yeah.
I know.
Podbean's telling me that you've ended your call.
Oh, I stopped. I started it and stopped it, so I need to be let back in again by Hugh. If he could let me back in.
Let me back in again, please.
Let me back in. Let me into the Podbean.
It's not coming up that you're there.
I'm trying.
All right, hang on. Yep, would like to go in. Okay, we'll try.
There we go. Excellent.
Back. And he's back.
Oh yeah, maybe the echo's back too, but I'll put it over there, so maybe it shouldn't be too bad.
Probably if it's far enough away, it might actually.
Yeah, I tell you what, while you talk, I'll go and get some headphones for it, which will stop it doing that.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. But there were three. Now there are two.
So the
now you sound like a commentator at a track, Andrew. You know when you watch the cars go by and there's a gap and you can hear the commentator at the racetrack. That's what you sound like.
Excellent.
With a bit of echo.
And so James Hunt is going to be at the front. Oh, the Ferraris are on fire. That's the safety lights, Marie. Oh, and the Renault is on fire too. That's still the safety light, Marie.
I think when Jonathan comes back, we should start on our Murrayisms.
Nigel Mansell, man of the race, man of the day, man from the Isle of Man.
The that should hopefully do it. I've got some headphones plugged in, so that should hopefully solve that one.
It's high-tech stuff.
High tech, I know. A 3.5mm jack. It's high-tech stuff.
It is high-tech because it used to be 1/4 inch.
Oh, really? Right, and then it went metric.
And then it went metric. I mean, there was 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch, and we were doing fine. We didn't need Tony Blair to come along telling us how to do things.
Absolutely. Nothing wrong with the good old British 1/4 inch. Yeah.
And our gallon's better anyway because it's bigger. The Americans think everything they've got's bigger, but it's not. Theirs is smaller.
But did it not evaporate on the way across on the boat? They took a gallon across, and then some evaporated or spilt, was it? And then
evaporates on the way to the carburetors that you have to have in those big V8s of theirs.
Oh, right. That would be it. It actually evaporates before it gets to the engine.
Yeah. You know why there's less of it? It's because we've got petrol and they've got gas, so it goes out because it's gas.
No, but I think when we were setting up the empire, you know, in the good old days, I think they sent across the weights and they sent across the distances and they sent across a gallon. Cool. And I think on the way across, it was a gallon of rum they sent across, or whatever it was. Some of it evaporated, and that's why the US gallon. So they got it off the Mayflower, or whatever. It probably wasn't the Mayflower. They didn't know they were going then. And they thought, all right, this is our gallon, and it spilled a bit of it or something.
Considering how much they got off the French, you'd think they'd be metric by now.
You'd think, but the French don't add to anything most of the time. So yeah, apart from their actresses, perhaps, as we were discussing earlier.
What is he on about now?
The French.
No, him, Ant.
He says,
Mick
Faroux.
What the hell does that even mean? Speak the English. This is Italian.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Now, I sent Andrew a video earlier on in the week. In fact, 2 videos. Did you happen to watch them?
Did you?
I did.
These special videos, Hugh.
Well,
I don't know.
They're car videos.
Well,
right, good.
2 days ago, because there's memory and.
Yes, they were the ones about the barn finds. Well, actually, this wasn't.
Oh yeah, okay, thank you. Yes, I watched those. They were quite interesting. I'm gobsmacked as why someone deliberately parked several thousand old cars very neatly in the middle of
a forest.
Argyle Butte.
Yeah.
What's that about?
It was.
RS2000s, Escort Mexicos, about 20 Range Rovers, Jags. I mean, he's like, what the hell? But I'd like to point out, you thought I was joking when I said bangers and cash. When this is actually a real. I just saw an advert on the Yesterday channel for bangers and cash coming to. I thought, oh, that looks like that thing Hugh was talking about. I sent him an email. I said, is it bangers and cash? He goes, very funny. What?
No, it was true. You're absolutely right. It was called that. But I absolutely love it. And if I was going to send you one today, because the latest Haggerty show on YouTube, which is the Barn Finder channel on YouTube, they were talking about Alphas, and they went to one of America's only Alpha dealers, or kind of Alpha specialists, who's still kind of going with all the old parts. And they had all these old cars that they had from like these 1960s Alphas they had rescued. But there's some that look super cool because they're all rusty, but they're still kind of whole. The body's actually whole.
Narrow it down a bit from 1960s Alfa Romeo. Still rusty.
Yeah.
Really
well, it would be rusty. But
Going rusty.
But there was a VTV, I think it was, and a Giulia and a Giulietta, and I mean these are amazing looking machines. But even though they're really rough, they look amazing because they've still got the original paintwork, and it's just really kind of all faded away. But the cars were solid, and they wanted one car that was an ex-Alpha, I think it was a Giulietta race car, and he wanted $7,000 for it, but it was running, I think, and it was ready to go. I always needed a bit of work, but actually I thought, for that's only about $6,000 or $5,500, $6,000, and you kind of think, actually that's not bad. What you finish, because if you took that to Goodwood, I reckon that would win a prize at Goodwood. Because it looks so cool, and it's just it would attract attention because people would see this amazing old classic just in that kind of condition, If you're a car person, I think that would excite you.
Is that the rat look where the thing is made to look really, really shabby, but actually mechanically it's completely sound? The rat look, they're quite cool. I like those. Yeah, you get these old American trucks, the old sort of the original Ford F100s, from the 60s, and they're absolutely covered in rust, but mechanically they're absolutely mint or upgraded. And these dudes just drive around in their trucks. It's very, very cool.
Way of not getting them nicked, but still embarrassing other people in their cars they think are fast.
Yes, exactly.
I had this. I fell in love with the Metro 6R4 many years ago. I was still in school, and I used to doodle my own little version of a Metro 604. It's basically kind of a Metro with boxes on the side and the Concorde ring on the front and the back. And I had this dream of taking one to America. And I don't mean the Clubman version, which was rubbish. I mean the full fat 410 horsepower, 3 litre, not the sort of.
Well, I mean the Group B cars were incredible.
Proper. The full Group B car was 410 to 430 horsepower, depending on the chip.
You had that.
Going to traffic lights and embarrassing Transams with this little Metro. I just had that idea.
Andrew said, "Look at your phone." So you must be.
Yes, he's WhatsApping me.
But why? It's an interesting question, though. I mean, now we can.
I understand what he's on about now. Right? Okay. Let me show you this. When he says a square mic, he means one of them.
Ah, right, okay, yeah.
Hold on.
It's like a horse racing commentator.
Oops, no, it's no longer echoing.
Something fell on the floor. Now I understand.
But going back to what we were saying about the Group B cars, we love like the Peugeot, was it the 205?
Oh, God.
Was it a Peugeot 205 Group B rally car?
205 T16, yes, it was okay.
Yeah. The Metro 6R4.
Trying to kill himself in it.
The Lancia. The Lancia.
Which one? Now we've got the Lancia. There's 4
coupe.
B, you've got the Stratos. You've got the, I can remember what it's called. 035, 036, 037. Lancia 037.
The Audi Quattro.
Two-wheel drive.
Yes, short wheelbase.
Car, short wheelbase thing. Then the Quattro came along and that changed everything.
The noise from the Quattro was amazing.
Oh,
Now, do you ever think? I know it sounds like a crazy question, but
Never.
I mean, it was like the 80s. I think was a phenomenal era just for everything. But do you think we'll ever get cars that were so kind of stylized like that? You know, that had that style and character of the 80s ever again? Do you think we'll ever have anything as because I mean, there's lots of different niche markets today.
Come the revolution, you got to get rid of the big car companies. And I moan about this.
It might be about to happen, Roo.
Well,
Yeah.
I think when all the PCPs go pop, I think all the companies will go bust. So we might get some new manufacturers coming through.
the Jag E-Type wasn't designed to look like something the company used to produce once. They went, right, we need a car that's fast. It needs to be aerodynamic. It's going to have a big engine in it. And so that's how the car was made. The Aston Martin DB4 and 5s, they were designed to look that way because they wanted them to look that way. Now what they do is they go, Aston Martin has a massive long heritage. We must make sure everybody knows it's an Aston Martin. So we will put this on it and we will do that. You know, everybody hates the S-Type Jag because they try to make it look like the old Mark 1s and Mark 2s. I think it's a really nice car. But I see the point. The point is they're trying to make it look like something that used to exist when underneath it's a Ford Mercury. You know, there's no innovation. Even these supercars, on Twitter, I follow a load of car nuts and they keep putting up these pictures. And you get this hideous thing with angles everywhere and this kind of stuff. And it's like they've got the Lamborghini Murcielago, which was stunning. They kind of went, right, Lambos are a bit like this, but we're going to make it modern. And it was amazing. And then they're all like that. Every single Lambo since has looked the same. It
Yeah.
looked like a Murcielago, but with more angles and a couple of LEDs there. And you're like, what? No.
Yeah, I mean, they still look pretty good. But, I mean, there's nothing completely revolutionary out there. You need something just completely zany. I can't think of anything that springs to mind that I just look at and go, wow.
I like engineering. I'm not an engineer, but I like engineering. And the thing about it is that there's an honesty, form and function. You know, that you get the function and the form naturally turns into something better, you know?
Yeah, well, the electric cars, I mean, I suppose they're all a bit different, but in a not a good way, maybe. I suppose because you got the batteries and the floor plan, they do look a bit different, a bit more aerodynamic, sort of biased design. But there's not, well, I can't think of any particularly which really stand out, to be honest, of the electric cars.
Well, interesting that you say that, because I've just been looking there on Google to get the name right. The Honda E. Now, I think that could be quite an interesting little car. It's got the new Honda E. And it looks a little bit like, it looks a bit like the Mark 1 Golf. You know, the kind of, cause it's got small round lights and it's actually got, the style of it is brilliant and the interior is lovely. And I could see it's mainly, they're kind of saying, look, it's a town car. It's not designed for going out into the countryside, but it's perfect for town use and that kind of thing. But it's about 26 grand. I think they've just launched it. Or they're just about to launch it.
Absolute bargain.
I know. I think there'll be discounts coming.
I'll tell you what it looks like. It looks like a cross between a Mini and the Mark II Nissan Micra.
Yes, it's got definite kind of.
Looked at a Mini and gone, let's make a Mini look like a Mini and not like a BMW 0.5.
I bet James May buys one.
Aye. Similarly, one of his cars got nicked. His Alpine got nicked. James May's Renault Alpine got nicked because the police tracked it down. Or something, unless it was a stunt for one of their videos, I don't know. But I saw the headline that the police had tracked down James May's Alpine, so maybe it got stolen. But
he was caught drinking in his local pub in Hammersmith in the lockdown.
Can I read out what Big Rick 2032 said? Where are you guys reading this? And I've seen your answer, Hugh. I just wanted to point out where you guys. That's a real compliment. Thank you very much, Big Rick. Good on you, mate. Where are you guys reading this? There's no script for us. You can't script this nonsense.
Absolutely. You never would.
I mean, SNL are good in America. They really are, but they're not this good.
Well, I'm trying to keep some order on this whole show.
I'll have chicken fried rice, beef chow mein. And I like that soup that looks like someone sneezed in it. What's it called?
Wuhan soup?
I don't know. No, isn't that the virus?
Maybe you sneezing it. That's probably what you'll get.
Yeah.
You get a bit of woo flu.
Woohoo soup. Choo.
Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't order Chinese in a minute.
Yeah, I'm just upset about 3 billion people, haven't I now? Oh dear.
Quite possibly. But moving on. So,
yes, Big Rick, we are streaming on YouTube. If you go onto YouTube and type in Hugh Hattrick, you will find our live stream there.
Yes, I'll have it. Hang on, let me get the.
Make sure you take some kind of painkillers first, because if you see my face, you'll be ill.
Let me. If you're, hang on, I will try and get the.
Don't break it. Don't break it.
The YouTube link. But I will need to. It's kind of difficult for us to get.
This is like. I used to have the record, the album of the soundtrack of the trailer of the film of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And they start by going to a cinema and everyone starts laughing and they go, "We're so sorry about that. It was a visual joke." So Hugh's put up a visual thing for the radio.
Which is absolutely no use to anyone at all.
Absolutely. Well, I can read it out. Anyone wanting the link, it is https://u2.b/9v big V little z little o 3 big R little n d 4 little h little g. I'm sure everyone got that.
Let me try and get this right. Hang on.
I didn't know what it was.
I will put it on and see if I can actually get it from here.
It can't be worse than mine. Yeah, it can.
Oh, actually, no, of course I can. I know I can.
Of course you can. Yes, of course you can.
I can do this 2 wee seconds, and I'll get the exact. I'll get the exact one for you.
That's cruel luck for Lacey. Second on the grid. That's the first time he started from the front row, having done so in Canada earlier this year.
Here we are.
Oh, Barry Walker.
He's very, very good. Now, here we go. I'll put it here on.
He's the world champion, and we only get one of those a year.
There we go. That's it. I put the link on. Here we are. There's a link there on Podbean as well. So it's our live stream link for all of you who are watching and listening. There we are. That's it all up to date. But yes, you can share it out with all your friends. But no, let's do Murrayisms then. Come on, let's do our Murrayisms. What's been the favourite one that we've had? You've got a list there, I can tell.
I've got a list, but I've got a bigger list actually. I didn't realise the list I'd found on the internet was that big, so I stopped writing them down. I was getting sick of it. So I like to. Let's see. Where's the one I made it really, really? There you go. Yeah, I always go on about these drivers and how annoying they are. Yukio Katayama is undoubtedly the best Formula One driver that Grand Prix racing has ever produced.
What?
That's what he said. Yukio Katayama is undoubtedly the best Formula driver that Grand Prix racing has ever produced. Schumacher has made his final stop 3 times.
Yeah.
The lead car is unique, except the one behind it, which is identical.
The atmosphere is so tense you could cut it with a cricket stump.
There's nothing wrong with that car, except it's on fire.
Tambay's hopes, which were nil before, are absolutely zero now.
I don't make mistakes. I make prophecies which immediately turn out to be wrong. Good old Murray. Fantastic.
There are actually 7 previous winners of the Monaco Grand Prix starting in tomorrow's race, and 4 of them are Michael Schumacher. There he is now. Oh, my favourite. Mansell is slowing it down, taking it easy. Oh, no, he isn't. It's a lap record. Oh, man.
He's very good.
They were very good. I always remember James Hunt when it was at Portugal, and it was Mansell was leading or thereabout. It was maybe 85, 86 or thereabouts. So maybe it was later than that. And it was Philip Alliot who was in the McLaren, I think, or it was in one of his whatever team he raced for, and he crashed and narrowly missed Mansell in the process. And then James Hunt came on the show to say Sorry about that, you mentioned Chrome things. And he said, and there goes Philip Alliot, who always crashes anyway, and this time he nearly takes out Mansell. And it was like, so it was something, because one point he was going to drive for McLaren again, and I think it was maybe was it 94, 95 after Ayrton Senna died. They were going to put him in. That you're holding back the laughter.
Myself to bring you this.
Excuse me while I interrupt myself.
Yeah, that's unless I'm very much mistaken. And yes, I am very much mistaken.
They are brilliant, absolutely fantastic. I always because when the lights came on, or at that time it was just the red lights, and then you had two red lights, I think it was, and then the green. And he would just say, and you can hear the revs rise, and it's red, and it's go, and that was it. And he would just say, go, and there they are. But there was this great one where he was describing the Italian Grand Prix, and so they set off, and there are great names for corners, but the old ones, the circuit, before they changed the first chicane and made it the other way, it was called the Retifilia. And only Murray could say, and here they come into the Retifilia. It is Senna, Mansell, Prost, and then he names out all the names. And then there was one time, I think it was in '96, when Damon Hill was he could have won the championship at that race. And Alesi, who started 6th on the grid, got an incredible start and ended up being first by the first corner. And they were all concentrating on Hill making his start. And then all of a sudden, you just see Alesi. I think he was driving in the Benetton at that time. And he said, and Jean Alesi takes the lead. And he says, Alesi, who's made one of his miracle starts, has done it again and takes the lead here in Italy. And the crowd is going mad, as it was. But I mean, to go from 6th place to 1st, you never see that nowadays. I mean, that's unheard of.
It's got a jump start. He started about a second and a half before anyone else.
That's what we've got to call
it. Watch it on YouTube. It's on YouTube, and you'll see how good. But I was watching one of the old live in-car feeds from Gerhard Berger when he drove for Ferrari way back in 88, 89, 90. And I think it was in Portugal. And they were so dodgy at the lights, because literally they got the car into gear and they were probably trying to balance the clutch and everything else. And they are basically moving in that last kind of second before the lights go to green. And he's already kind of going, and then they head off, and they never got any penalties for doing it. And obviously that must have helped his start quite a bit. But in those days, because he was driving a Ferrari, I mean, it looked incredible. He had hardly any buttons on the wheel. Literally, it was just the steering wheel. I think, in fact, he had paddle shift at that point, because Ferrari were one of the first to bring out paddle shift. But they were proper races. If you can see them on YouTube, they're phenomenal, because it looks tough and there's lots of vibration. And I mean, now it's so slick. The cars, they say the quality of them is so good. They're built so well that they don't feel the bumps as much. And that's why the cameras have a much clearer picture, because they're not being thrown around as much.
Much more. So I remember when I can't remember which MP4, whatever the hell it was, MP4 something or other, that Hakkinen won his first world championship with. And I read an article in one of the magazines. It might have been Autosport, which I used to read at the time. He was saying that he'd never driven a car so neutral in its handling and supple in its suspension, an F1 car that could ride over the bumps. And this was the thing about it, this Adrian Newey creation, that could soak up all the bumps, so it could take the curbs better and more than anybody else. It was a leap forward, a real leap forward. So I suppose that was the beginning, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's a wee bit for tomorrow's.
I have a question before we disappear. They've decided to ban DAS, the dual-axis steering system.
Oh, have they?
Even though everything else is going to stay the same, and even though McLaren can alter their car to fit the Mercedes engine in it, because everything's frozen, they've decided, no, we're not having it. I think it's pants, that idea. I'm sick and tired of them banning things. It's all you ever hear these days. That ban, not allowed to have it. They should let them just get on and have 6 wheels or 8 wheels or 20 wheels or whatever the hell they like.
And V16.
Yeah, why not? Well, I was listening to another video. Don't start me off. I was listening to another YouTube video of the best sounding cars throughout history, and I've heard the BRM V16 a few times, and they've got all the V12s. We talk about the singing, the V12. That V16 is just unique. There's no other sound like it. It has the singing of the 12 with this kind of growling, guttural V8 sound, and you mix them together and you get this thing that's going to kill you. It's going to kill you. It's got the spirit of a demon in the front, and it did try to kill quite a few people.
Remember, I think, John, were you there? I think you and I went to one of the times we were at Goodwood, and we saw that rocket bike. I think it was a rocket bike, and it did was incredible.
Gas turbine powered.
Yeah, and then it used to fly away, and the noise from that was something else. Just because of the thrust and the sound of the smoke was incredible. But that must have been terrifying to drive, especially on a very thin piece of tarmac, and it's quite bumpy.
Yeah, the drive at Goodwood is not too thick. Some of those guys, I always wonder about Goodwood. I'm not a health and safety nut, but they go pretty fast up the drive, and as far as I can tell, it's just bales, which are flammable. Yeah,
that flint wall is flint, and flint
yes,
flinty.
yes,
and I think that means it's quite hard.
It is when you hit it in a rocket bike at 140 miles an hour, and you have to be identified by your dental records.
I love when they show Goodwood, because obviously I've not been there. I'm not as good as you guys. But when I see it on the telly on ITV4, and they spoil everything by having people talking in between the nice cars, what they need to do is get rid of the people talking and just show the cars. That's what they need to do. Anyway,
sometimes, but
they do sometimes for a bit.
You should watch it on YouTube. Watch it live on YouTube.
Well, I will now. I've got that set up. But they have that last day, don't they, where they're showing the proper racing. There's the people that just cruise up and make a noise, and then there's the nutters in their 900 horsepower four-wheel drive rallycross cars or whatever that would.
They're fantastic
from them, and oh my god, they go so fast! It's amazing. But like you say, and you can see them. You can tell they're losing the grip, and that it ain't easy.
One of the most impressive one was the Group B Audi Quattro, the little short wheelbase one, and the speed that it gets up that hill is unbelievable. And the thing is about there's kind of electric cars, the ID3s, whatever they're called. They look, not ID3, the one that IDR. They look incredibly quick, but they look very smooth. The Audi Quattro, it looked like it was trying its best to kill everybody there. The guy driving or woman driving was absolutely hanging on for a dear life.
That's the other thing. What is very funny is that they do have these kind of commentators or presenters who they're not prepared for what they're going to be doing at all. But there was one of the best ones I saw. It's like a 1 minute clip that you'll see on YouTube, and it's the son. It wasn't Sebastian Loeb's son. It was the other rally driver. Was it Mackinnen's son? I think it was. He's only like 17 or 18. Okay. And he's in the World Rally Championship having a Ford Fiesta. And he raced up that hill. I saw it live on YouTube, and it was absolutely incredible. But they've recorded it, you can see it. And he uses every bit of the road and more in his incredible slides. But he's so fast up that hill in this little Fiesta, I think it was, or a Polo or WRC car. Mm-hmm. And that was impressive. Really incredible, actually. And then you really see, now that's a skill. That is an incredible skill. To be able to do that. I do have a lot of time for rally drivers, because I think that is still so dangerous.
They be the ones that win the Race of Champions rally drivers.
Yeah, aye.
They've got an all-round ability, haven't they? There's just stuff they can do in a car that if you get too, I suppose, blinkered or too specialised in a kind of car, you don't do.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it is amazing, isn't it?
What I must recommend to you and anyone listening is the Collecting Cars podcast from Chris Harris, and he did a 3-hour interview with Nicky Grist, which I listened to when I was hacking the garden to bits the other day, and it was absolutely fascinating. Wow. Listen to his time sitting alongside all the great drivers. He sat alongside Kankkunen, and obviously everyone knows him from McRae, and the stories that come out of the risks that they took. It was completely fascinating. And the first kind of, is it Hoonigan? When they had this kind of basically event in America, And McRae managed to get within 2 seconds of the fastest time on this sort of special hoonigan event. And he rolled the car and still came 2 seconds from the fastest time. And Nicky Grist, he said they took off and the car was in the air. And he said in the air, because time slows down, they looked at each other. And Colin and him, they both knew how it was going to land. And they kind of smiled. And they thought, while in the air, doing a sort of barrel roll, they looked at each other and said, we can still do this. And sure enough, Colin put it down the gear, steering straight, off they went. He did actually break a half shaft. Otherwise, they might have even got the fastest time having done a barrel roll during this thing. It was brilliant.
Well, I've just got something here about who was amazing also in a rally car, but none other than Ayrton Senna.
Is he?
And yes, and he went out in Group B Austin Rover Metro 6R4 to see what it was like. And now here's a quote in his own words. He says, the reason why, in Senna's own words, I know nothing about rallying. I've seen the pictures in magazines, sometimes watched it on television, and I deliberately haven't listened to anyone about rally driving. I want to find out for myself. And on the very first run, he drove actually a Ford Sierra rally car, and he nearly went off on the first corner. It's not exactly what he was expecting. And his response was, it is surprising after it's off. Because I really went into the first corner like a normal car. It was stupid. Now I understand why you have to use opposite lock and use the traction a bit to keep the car really biting on the ground. If you just try to go round, you don't go round, you just go straight on.
The style of driving now is much more boring than it used to be. It's much more sort of keep the car straight at all times. Whereas what people want to watch, of course, is the damn thing hanging its tail out, not some incredibly clever front diff keeping it completely straight. You want to see the Colin McRae, drama, the thing on the absolute limit.
McRae was incredible. I mean, he was absolutely amazing. And
he was just the wrong side of sort of insane, wasn't he? It's kind of like he was so fast, and then bang. It kind of like, ooh.
Yeah, he didn't crash so much in the later days. Actually, he had a lot of mechanical failures when he was with Ford. And that's really the reason he didn't get the championship. Because I mean, when he first went with Ford with the Focus, they won the first 2 events, and they just couldn't believe it. And then the reliability things just started falling to bits for some reason. I mean, it's a brilliant podcast. It's 3 hours long, and the 3 hours just disappears. The stories that they tell, just
one
brilliant.
of the last rally events that McRae did, I think, was in a Skoda, and he finished second. He nearly won the rally.
Yes.
Everyone in the whole pit lane, or the kind of the area, the mechanics area, gave him a big, huge round of applause, a kind of standing ovation, because they thought what he managed to get out of that Skoda was utterly incredible.
Yeah, well, they actually had a problem. I think Nicky Grist was saying, because actually he went back to Derek Ringer for a while, and then back to Nicky Grist for this sort of swan song with Skoda. And Skoda had never had any attention at all. And they did this event in Britain, and the PR department just wasn't ready for it. And Nicky Grist and Colin tried to sort of say, by the way, guys, you might want to get something sorted out here because it might be a bit busy, because this is the Colin McRae era. And they're absolutely mobbed by questions. And he was saying when they went to America, they didn't realize Colin McRae was a real person. They thought he was a character from from a video game. They didn't realize he was a real person. No. And when he came on,
they were playing whatever Sega Rally or whatever the thing on a Nintendo.
Colin McRae Rally. Yeah, they a lot of them didn't realize he was a real person. And when he came onto this event and they barrel rolled the car and still nearly won it, they were just cheering their heads off. They couldn't believe this guy. Just absolutely incredible.
Well, that's what a true champion is, when they can get an incredible result in just about any car. And it really means something. That's why people like Hamilton is good. I think George Russell is good. I think Lando Norris are good. They punch above their weight. People like Ricciardo as well in Formula One, I think, is very, very good. As well as obviously there's other guys in other parts of motorsport. But no, it really shows you when they can have that all-round ability to do it. And I'm sure as well, Colin McRae did win. Well, he tested a Formula One car for Benetton, did he not? With Schumacher.
There was a thing when they definitely swapped cars, yeah.
Yeah, and he wasn't that far away from the times. He was pretty much up there, which again shows an incredible ability.
Well, he had no fear apparently. He had a chip missing from his head where he didn't really have any fear.
That's the
or his,
thing.
or his fear level was here, whereas everyone else's was there. You know, I mean, and he would just do things for the hell of it. Sometimes it didn't work out.
I think he wasn't a multiple world champion because I remember when he won his world championship, or even before, Tommy Mäkinen, who had 4 world championships, which was the equal most, wasn't it, at the time?
Yeah.
They had the same number of rally wins.
Yes, he won a huge number of rallies. Yeah.
But Colin had no world championships or just the one, and Tommy Mäkinen had 4 in a row. And it's kind of like, how does that work out? And I think it's this lack of ability to sort of know when to just back it off a touch. I mean, you watch.
Yeah, in the early years, definitely. Yeah, and then later on, the reliability wasn't great.
I'm a massive Colin McRae fan. I really am. And his dad, Jimmy McRae. Yeah. We were watching the 88 British Open Championship against the likes of Pentia Rickler and all this kind of stuff, and Dave Llewellyn, who was driving an Audi 200 Quattro. I mean, it's huge. It just has so much weight. And you're talking about getting around a corner. Watching him position that car to get round a corner, because of the 4-wheel drive, you couldn't just drive it round. You had to get it sideways, slide into the corner, and use the traction to pull you out. It's huge.
Was that Pentia Rickler? Were you saying?
No, that was Dave Llewellyn. Pentia Rickler.
Right.
Was in, Starion Turbo.
Right. I think there was a good story in the podcast about I think it was a Rickler, or was it Ari Vatanen? I think it was a Rickler. And it was like, he was quite old by then. So these people in the autocar did this test for the sideways challenge, they called it.
Okay.
And these F1 drivers were trying to get these Cosworth Sapphires or Escorts, Cosworth, whatever it was, to do sliders. And no one really knew who Ari Vatanen was at all. And he turned up in a front-wheel drive Mitsubishi Galant, like 1.6 GL. He just came in at full speed onto the skid pan, rather like you're on, Hugh, where they're trying to, and these guys are trying to do slide turns in rear-wheel drive cars. In a front-wheel drive Galant, just came tearing in, hooting his horn, flashing his lights, just barged into the skid pan, used the handbrake, and went around a cloud of smoke in a 1.6 GL front drive Galant. He had a handbrake and said, "Hello, my name is Ari Vatanen." These guys had no idea who he was. He managed to outbeat all of them in a front wheel drive road car. It was just
he was. There's two memories of Ari Vatanen that I've got. Okay, when he used to drive the Mantas, and and you can find it on YouTube. He's in the Isle of Man Rally, I think it's the Isle of Man Rally, and he's driving along, and you've got the in-car camera. So he's going along these tiny little roads. There's a big drop down one side, but there's a dry stone wall, okay? Or not a dry stone, there's just a stone wall. And they are motoring. They're doing over a ton down this tiny little road. And that sound of an Opel Manta GTE, that's kind of... The cars just sounded better in those days.
Yeah.
They didn't sound like asthmatic vacuum cleaners. They sounded like Bob, like that. So it's going, and the guy's going, K left 120 and all the different notes. I can't remember. And then he clips the wall and starts fishtailing. And ahead is a cattle grid. And the cattle grid's got these two metal things like that, which would chop the car in half at that speed.
Yeah.
And what you get is the co-driver look up and go, "Dear God!" And then Ari Vatanen goes, which basically means, "Tell me what's coming up next." And he's like,
"Yeah, I know." He's just like, just read the pace notes. It's like nothing's happened.
Slowing down, you've got a puncture because it started, but it caused a puncture hitting the wall, and he controlled the car and threaded it through this gap. You're like, "Dear God!" That's all you heard. The other one was an interview with Walter Roll, the Porsche test driver, with the Audis, wasn't he? Well, they were compatriots. They were competing, and they were. I think Ari Vatanen was in the T16, the 205 T16, which was a super car. I mean, that was an amazing rally car of its day. But he was saying that Adi Vartanen was a nutter. Basically, he had no fear as well, and Walter kept telling him, because they were mates, you need to just get a tiny bit of sense because you're going to kill yourself. And he nearly did. You know,
Yes.
he had a massive crash which ended his career. And Walter went on to be the world rally champion. You know, it's kind of like, wow. I mean, you've got. I'd never do rally driving because I've got this fear of tumbling down cliffs.
Things. Yes.
You know, Dave Llewellyn used to drive the 6R4 in one of the seasons it was running, you know, near the end of Group B, and he ended up off a cliff against a tree 10 feet away from a big river.
Well, I need to get Louise Aitken Walker on the show because she did that as well. Her car actually went into the water.
Yeah, she took an early bath.
She climbed out and it was something. She just lived a few hundred yards away, so I'll need to get her on the show. But that would be something. But
it's just this thought, you know, I like the idea of a nice run up there. I'm a bit of a chicken. But you've got to have, you know, Sebastian Ogier. I watched a few years of rallying on Channel 5 or whatever it was, catching what I could. And I noticed that Sebastian Ogier, the thing that he's got this amazing capability of going faster than anybody else when he needed to, and then not. Does that make sense? Not having to go that fast. And his not going that fast was still fast enough to stay ahead of everyone, but not make mistakes and crash. So his pushing it was faster, and his kind of backing up a bit was as fast. And so he would just win. Whereas the others, they might go faster, and in certain conditions might even be a bit faster, but then they'd crash or they'd have a problem, or the car would break because they'd abused it. I love it when I can see the thing, you know, I talk about what is it Hamilton's got, what is it that Schumacher had. The thing that he had was this ability. When he was fast, he was faster than anybody else, and when he backed off, he was as fast as everybody else, and he knew when to do it. It's uncanny.
Yes, it's quite good, isn't it?
Amazing.
That camera on it. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Well, it is an amazing topic, isn't it? How these drivers are incredibly capable, and they just know they have that set. Someone like Prost in Formula One, he wouldn't necessarily drive to win, but he would drive to finish really well. So he knew how to look after his car, and as a result, he was very consistent, and he won world championships because he didn't get involved in some of the fights. But when they do come, I mean, he raced Senna like nothing else. And there were some real battles where he won against Senna too, you know. So it does show you that he had an incredible skill, and he could be really fast when he wanted to be. But he saw the long picture.
But nobody remembers Alain Prost, do they? You remember, you know, Hamilton. You remember Mansell. All these people who were sort of grappling the car, fighting, you know, getting out sweating, not Le Professeur getting out of his Renault having just got a dramatic fourth place. You know, you want to see these guys absolutely hammering it, you know, and sliding and risking things and doing things that you could never do in a car.
It is more exciting, I'll give you that. It's like Jackie Stewart at the beginning of his career. He was the rainmaster, wasn't he? He was at the Nürburgring winning by 4 minutes in the rain when other people could barely get the car around. Yeah. And one of the best bits of old footage I've seen is Jackie Stewart in a car with an in-car camera, and you can see him changing gear, going around the Nürburgring, talking his way through.
Yeah, at high speed.
Full chat at the old Nürburgring, you know, the Nordschleife, in a car with proper gears, not like a modern one, telling you got to aim for this and you got to go that, and he was so consistent. But he was exciting in those days, and then of course he realised he was another one of these people that he wanted to go across the line as slow as he possibly could while still winning. Fangio was the same because the car was so unreliable. He was able to look after it, you know, and not crash. And Francois Cervera, when he died, I've cried watching him talk about it. I've cried watching the footage because he drove past the wreckage. You know, and it was this one corner, and he used to go up a gear at Watkins Glen because the car was unsettled, so he would settle it by going up a gear. Yeah. Whereas he knew Francois went down to fourth. so that the car was a bit more jittery. It's little things like that that's the difference, isn't it? It's kind of the heart. It's 103.
But if you talk about going back to when Jackie Stewart was doing a commentary as he was racing flat out around the Nürburgring with different places, I mean, it would be very interesting if they did that today. And instead of if Jackie Stewart did one lap, and then you got somebody who done an advanced driving, because in advanced driving they're all supposed to be, they can commentate as they drive, but then they're supposed to see things coming, and it's quite something. I know of a few advanced drivers, and they seem to have bigger accidents than anyone else.
Well, they see them in their rearview mirror,
and they've had colossal amounts of shunts. And to be fair, one of them had a shunt into a truck. But the truck actually hit them, and they did. To be fair, they controlled the slide. It's incredible. It actually it was on a car cam, one of these dash cams.
Oh yeah.
And actually saw it, and it was amazing. And to be fair, she caught the slide and did it really well. But people have been bumping into her ever since. So it's kind of, but they do seem to have these advanced drivers have these quite big accidents. So I don't know what it is about.
They should maybe use defensive driving a little bit better, rather than sort of actually getting into accidents and then controlling the slide.
But
I thought that's what advanced driving was.
I thought it was as well.
You can't do that when you're trying to push pull.
Exactly. And now the car has lost control. The airbag goes off their face.
I love the Henley School of Police Advanced Drivers, Class 1 driving, pursuit driving. Henley, is it Henley? It's meant to be the number one. And I've read. I remember Car Magazine had a fantastic article donkeys years ago in the 90s.
Is it Hendon? Hendon. It might be Hendon.
It could be Hendon. Okay, it's a H, and it's like down south, isn't it?
Down south.
Down south, where they got the police like in the cars, and they're going to get you, isn't it?
The feds.
So, listen, right, get in the Granada. You're next, bag. So they were talking about how if they go out every day, and if they show any red mist at all, they're sacked. Off you go back to your panda car. And if they ever drive too slow, they're sacked. It's like you can't just potter around. You've got to go as fast as you can.
Do you think they're any good? I'm not sure they're that good. They seem to crash quite a lot. And whenever I've actually wanted to get away from a Class 1 police car, I've always been able to get away from them. So yeah, a couple of times I've got away from them when they've chased me.
You're saying that like on the internet, right?
Did I? Oh, right, okay.
No,
in Minecraft, I can get away from the Class 1 police class. Yeah.
That was on
Grand Theft Auto. You can.
That's the Grand Theft Auto, wasn't it? You
Grand Theft Auto. That's right. Sorry. Yes, I didn't mean in real life. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it is.
That was the one bit we look at ending the show in a minute. But on that note, the first time I went to America with the family, and I was getting the hire car, and the chap said, "Oh, have you ever driven in America before?" And he gave me the keys, and it says, "Nope, but I've watched Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto on PS3 for the last 6 years."
You have driven in America. I remember the first time that we drove. You left the Rosen Center and went the wrong way down the road through International Drive, with me screaming my head off, going, "Ah!"
Inside. My best mate did that in Germany when I was doing my placement year. He came to visit. He drove his old Talbot Alpine, which is another one of the cars I learned to drive in, 1.5 L. Great car, 4-speed. He used to embarrass 1300 escorts that assumed they were quicker. He'd get on the motorway and he'd just put his foot down. And you'd get to some speed that may or may not be above the speed limit. And they're still trying to keep that. They're absolutely convinced that even though you're disappearing into the distance, they are going faster because they're in a little Mark II Ford Escort and you're in a crappy French thing. Anyway, the point is, he came to and we went for a drive to visit friends of mine in a village called Hasloch, the largest village in Germany. And going back, it was dark and everything was fine until he got to a T-junction. Because he just went into automatic pilot in the dark and went to this. When he was turning right, he went to the centre of the road, across to the other side, and then was driving along like this. I'm like, "You're on the wrong side of the road." It's easily done.
I think I've done that though in every hire car, John, I've been in with you. Because when I first drove in Spain from Garola, I ended up driving on the left-hand side as well by accident.
Did you? I don't remember that.
I managed to get back on the right side quite quickly.
I never forget you going up the hill back into Mijas Pueblo, and it was a wet night, and the roads were very greasy, and we came across a car on its roof with debris all over the road, and Hat-Trick didn't lift once. He just kept his foot in. They were taking the people out of the car. They were getting out the sunroof, or not the sunroof because it's upside down. The windows. He didn't lift. He just went straight through the crash site, and it was just debris going. This whole Astra saloon. And he said, "I've got to keep the line. I need to keep the speed up." I said, "We've just been through a crash site. There's a car on his roof." The first response about the wreckage.
Fiesta going up towards Ronda. Through the mountains on the little roads.
Oh yes,
driving along, and I've never complained about British roads since.
The driving on that's quite interesting.
And suddenly, it's like a pothole appears. So what they do is they mix a bit of concrete in a bucket and just go, and then walk off. Don't flatten it; it'll dry.
No,
so that's how it. And then you get to bits where the road's gone. Into the valley, and you're like, whoa, I'll go around there.
But there are some good bits on that road to Ronda. It is quite good. You want something like a Ferrari 812 Superfast or something. That would be fantastic through there. I mean, you need 700 plus brake, and that would be phenomenal.
I remember doing that in the hire car coming back from Jerez. Or the same week we went to Jerez, and we almost lost the brakes because they were overheating because we had to go down all those hairpins. That was some run. That 40 miles.
Yeah, the brakes were going a bit long. That's for sure. Yeah, cooking the brakes.
And I remember because we came back from something. I was going up that road, and I was deliberately spinning the wheels and pretending to do a warm up. And the people in front were going crazy because they thought we were going to ram right into the back of them. But it was
trouble. This guy. Look at this face. You wouldn't think of it.
No, innocent looking face. Absolutely.
It looks like he should, I bet he's got a series of various coloured cardigans which he puts on just to fool people. He'll turn up at the hire car place and they'll say, "Oh, hello, sir. Would you like to upgrade?" He goes, "Yes, I'll upgrade the new." "What would you like, sir?" "Well, have you got a Camaro?"
It's hilarious driving with Hugh because he has the most kind of, let's say, not the most sporty cars, things like Dacia MCVs and Citroen Picassos and things like that. They're kind of cars that you're always stuck behind in the middle lane on the motorway, like the kind of Motability specials. Yep. And Patrick drives them like he's, on a quali lap, and you're just in this Dacia. And you're running rings around Focus RSs and whatever the hell people are driving, BMW 330Ds and stuff. And they can't keep up with him. We're on the door handles, and it's hilarious.
I'd love to criticise, but I'm not a hypocrite. And do you remember when he was talking to James Rupert, and we were talking about the FSO Polonaise on the
Yes.
I was overtaken on the A470 in the 5 years I had that car once.
Yeah.
We used to go back down south about twice a month.
You have to drive fast. I don't even see you in it.
The car that overtook me, surprisingly, was a very well-driven, extremely well-driven MG Maestro Turbo, which was a car. And I've driven not an MG Turbo, but the 2-litre Maestro, and it was a really nice handling car until everything fell off.
Yes.
But yeah, that got past me. Oh, Devil's Elbow is a good road. Leek to Buxton. Yes, I have been on that road, and I can testify. I sound like I'm in church. Testify. It is a very good road.
There's some good roads in the Scottish borders, very close to where Hugh is actually. They are great roads.
I've driven some of them.
The fastest car on those roads is the Austin Montego. That's what I found. I've never, ever gone faster than when Hugh's mother has been driving me around. Normally having an animated conversation about the details of some French artist, whilst just keeping the car at a constant 76 miles an hour, run every single bend in the Scottish borders.
So just
Occasionally,
10%.
oh, sorry,
Just
in,
underneath
in Minecraft. And
no, it's
yeah.
77. You've got 10% error, haven't you, on all the speedos?
Yeah, these weren't 70 limits. They're normally 30. But the conversation was normally quite detailed and animated about some artist or something, or some musical score, and who did the better composing, something like that. Nothing to do with driving.
Already, she sounds
the car
cool.
just sitting at a constant 78 miles an hour or something while we're going around these switchback bends, and Hugh and I just hanging on in the back as the car would just go light. Both the car would just jump airborne 2 feet sideways. And then the conversation would go quiet between whoever she was talking to in the front, and go, and anyway, the Debussy, the seventh score, it is not good. You have to go on to this one. It is better. And it's like we almost all died. It's like, yeah, it's brilliant.
Oh, it was quite a thing, and that my father's driving was always fun. That it was always.
Well, I remember heading down Path Head again in Minecraft, and we were about 5 or 6 back in traffic, and again about 80 in the 60 zone. And there were some roadworks, contraflow, obviously, and single carriageway, and it went red. And as most normal people would do, people ahead, the brake lights came and they started stopping. And all I heard Hugh's father say, "Oh, no." And the car would be accelerated in a Rover 216S, which was not the most solid vehicle I've ever been in. The Honda Ballade, basically.
Ballard, sorry, yeah.
Ballard, yeah.
Integra with
the car just accelerated and jinked out. And we just overtook about 5 cars, we just stopped. And we just went in a dust, in rather sleet, rain or something. And he was like, "We catch up." And we just went hurtling through. And I was like, the car, I mean, to be fair, he held it. The car obviously handled quite nicely. But I was like, I'd never seen driving like this other than in films.
When you're on a road, and people don't know what they're doing and they're stupid. So, where I live, where I used to actually own a house properly, is a bit more mountainous than it is here. It's a few miles away from Snowdon itself. And if you go over Penna Pass up the wiggly bit, which you see on the odd programme, and you go down the other side into Cwm Gwynant and all that kind of stuff towards Capel Curig, and you go past the youth hostel, you go down this long street, and then there's a really tight bend. Now, pals had come to visit, and we were driving one of my mates' cars. It was a Renault 19, a nice British racing greeny coloured Renault 19. 1.4, so it wasn't a very fast car, but it was all right. 4 up, and we're driving along, and this Birkin Cavalier is about 3 inches behind my arse, because there's a reason I'm not going very fast down this long straight bit. And it's the 90-degree bend with a huge cliff off one side that's coming up, and I know it's coming up. And because I'm not from London or Manchester or some other place with lots of parked cars and no corners, I can drive. So this guy's tailgating me, and I'm looking at him, and I just said, "Okay, everybody, hang on." Why? I said, "You'll find out in a minute. You just need to hang on." And I just hit the brake and just went round the corner, and this guy nearly ended up going off the cliff. I believe the technical term is a twat.
Yeah.
A tailgating twat.
Bit of a cavalier attitude.
Oh, I mean, yeah. It's funny, but after that point, he didn't tailgate me again. Weird how that happens.
Right. Well,
it wasn't a great handling car either, that was it? Or was it like the last model? They were terrible.
It was the bubbly one. The Mark.
Yeah, snapping, really. But I had an SRI. I had a Cavalier SRI for a while. It was my minister's old car that I bought for about £200, I think, £300. And it was really dodgy at roundabouts. The back end would come out really easily. Even if it was dry, it was quite snappy. Yeah, it wasn't well battered. Yeah, and I don't think it was the tire pressures. I've got them checked quite regularly.
Your bushes are gone.
When it was pretty old, to be fair, I was the last person who had it before it got scrapped.
That was so often the case, Hugh, in those days.
Yeah, it's not quite that way now. But I have the best overtaking maneuver I had. I'll just say with a family member. Let's put it that way. If in case my parent, my family listen to the show. But I was once. It was at night time, and we were travelling up to Edinburgh, And we overtook on this bit near Westrother, just past Westrother on the line 16, I think it was. And it was quite a short straight. And I was quite surprised when this driver, who was in the car, who was driving, decided to overtake a BP lorry tanker, and on this short straight. And I kind of said, "Oh, we don't got much space here." And the person just said, "Oh, I'd be fine." And she comes out in fifth gear, not with no power, too high a gear, and we're barely making it up to the truck, to the front, and the corner is coming up, and it's completely blind, right? It's just before the junction for the Lauder turn off, so it's a blind right bend, and then it goes off down the hill to Lauder, and literally the truck realizes that we're coming around this bit. He brakes, so all we hear is a, and then the driver pulls back in the Montego, and we get back in and we go around the corner, and it was something, and she never, the person in
I think we heard is you.
never said anything for about 4 or 5 minutes, and after that they kind of said, "Oh, that was an interesting move."
Was this one of your music lessons in Edinburgh, Hugh?
Yeah.
I mean, how you survived those? Because you went through a few hedges backwards in Cortinas, didn't you? The same corner, you'd spin out almost every time you went up that road. You'd spin out and go backwards, and then come back on again. You built it into the time, was the time getting out the field, driving back on the road.
Yeah. Well, we went in there, I remember in the Cortina, because my mum used to take us up there, and she used to always play with the tyre pressures, because she was told by the garage, "Oh, if you've got too much, more luggage in the boot, you'll need to set the tyre pressures and put a bit more pressure in them." Yeah. And she used to say, my brother played the cello, and he had a cello case that would go in the boot, and all sorts of other stuff as well that would go in with it. Yeah, but my mum had obviously thought, right, I need to put the tyre pressures up. So she had them up like balloons. These tires were like this. And we'd come round the west of the road, which before they put the fences up, the sheep would come onto the road quite often. So you really had to watch out for that. Now it's a lot better. And so she'd come round the corner, you would see the sheep on the roads, further up. And she would brake, lock the car up, and then somehow the car would just lose it. And we did one time we came round there, and we did a full 360-degree spin and actually missed the sheep. Wow. And so we kind of spun around the sheep, and then we ended up facing the same way as we're going. And she just went to second gear, and off we went. Wow. It was like, but we left these great lines.
Video recorders. I mean, it's not as exciting, but she had the same thing where she would completely misunderstand an instruction about how the video recorder worked. So remember the old original top loaders, the old Baird ones, that was our first video recorder, and I had it on pause. Now in the instruction manual it said after 4 minutes of being on pause, the video recorder will start playing again to prevent damage to the tape. Ma'am read that and understood, don't put it on pause, it'll break the tape. So every time I had it on pause, she would go, Andrew, take it off pause, you break the tape. So no, you won't give it me, don't lie your tone. Yeah, it's the same kind of idea, isn't it? When you've got heavy weight in the back of the car, you need to put the tyres up. Boot is filled, must put the tyres up. Brilliant. I like that. Wow. Mum's a great for entertainment.
It's attention to detail. That's good. Yeah. I like that.
It's attention to some of the detail.
Yeah.
I was going to a music lesson. I went to a music lesson in Gaventon in the early 80s. And we were in, again, I think it was the Cortina. And we came round just the first bend going out of Duns, basically, on the Gaventon Road. And thankfully, there was an entrance to an old estate. So there was plenty of room. And Mum spun, again, fully 360, and ended up in the facing the other way, 180, facing the other way in this big driveway. And Mum said to me, it was the only time she ever asked me, she said, are you okay? Are you all right? And I said, no, Mum, I feel a bit sick. I don't think I can do my music lesson. And she believed me. And so I was able to miss my piano lesson. I only ever worked once. But that was it. So she must have felt guilty that time. So when she got back, she told the music teacher, sorry we didn't make it in, but she felt we had a bit of an incident on the road and a few felt a bit sick. So that was that.
Good dodge.
I've got a real issue with people in the road. I mean, it's not a problem anymore because no one overtakes anymore.
They don't.
They don't.
Knows how to do anything anymore. They've become American in their understanding of risk.
Yeah.
It is, but it was getting a bit of a problem back in the day. You know, like you were saying, people, they'll plonk it in fifth gear, they'll pull out, and then they'll accelerate. I mean, and they're a foot behind whatever they're overtaking there.
No forward planning at all.
No clue. And I'd be doing, you know, what the police are taught. You know, you hand back and you zinc out a bit so you can see and all this kind of stuff. You're in a lower gear ready, all that kind of stuff. Get past as fast as you can, then you can slow down and cruise on. Great. Which, when you're on the A470 and people have a pathological fear of corners, but have got a modern, new, powerful car so that I can't get past them on the straights, it becomes an issue. So, oh my God, a corner. And I'm in my 1.6 diesel Cavalier C-Reg pile of poo. 50 horsepower.
Really? 50?
It didn't even do much to the gallon. I think the best I ever got from it was 38.
Oh, yeah.
That must have been really abysmal.
That's what that was. I got about nearly as much to the gallon in my 2-litre GLSI. That was an E-Reg, you know, with its Bosch J. It's a J-tronic injection, you know. They're basically the engine that we're going to put in the newer one. They put in the last of the old ones, you know. Anyway, it's just unbelievable. But if you hang back and you pop out a little bit, you get people flashing the lights at you because they think you're going to headbutt them with your car.
Yeah, well, I don't know when the highway code banned overtaking, but clearly since the last time I read it, we're not allowed to overtake anymore because people just follow the car in front. And it means that people like us that like to crack on a bit, rather than just have 1 or 2 cars to overtake, we've normally got about 20. So the move has to be phenomenal.
So there's no
there's no space to go in.
And then they won't pass, but they get really cross if you want to sort of cut in. But if they would just pass one by one, then you wouldn't be stuck in the line.
It
was against their manliness or whatever.
Well, they don't even overtake tractors. On the A16, I've been stuck behind people coming from Path Ed on that wee bit where there's nowhere to overtake. But if you're stuck behind a tractor, you can get through. And they won't even do that. Or if it's a tractor, then a cyclist. And then they just sit there and I will have to overtake the whole lot.
Yeah, you end up making a bigger move, exactly.
Yeah, and there's only so much you can do in a Citroen Picasso, but it's not, it's not got
in a 50 horsepower 1.6 diesel Cavalier. You can overtake in a Picasso. Breaking news.
No, he does.
The dotted line in the middle means you can pass.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. The people they don't know any of this stuff. No one seems to know what the lines mean.
I think what it was is that the BBC did a risk assessment and decided that before you overtake, you've got to have a special training course, wear some goggles, have gloves on, and a special mask.
Yeah, I think so. Yep. And also, people don't realise that where you've got a hazard line, you can undertake legally.
Yeah.
I get very cross.
The Americans undertaking thing. As long as everyone knows it's going to happen, if they don't know it's going to happen. But when you get the people that think the outside lane's their property, or that the 3 lanes of a motorway are 50, 60, 70, or whatever the old thing is, all that congestion would disappear if you could just go. Not overtaking is like queuing for the supermarket now. Yes, well, we're British. But, yeah, I like that idea. And the other idea, I was on Twitter. I wish I could put it up. There was a lovely picture of a motorbike. Ant has seen it. Which I would like. It's a large cruiser-style motorbike, bit of a take on some of the Bond bicycles that they've had, with 2 massive Gatling guns on them.
Yeah,
I think that's a really good idea.
That's a nice touch.
Yeah. Oh no!
Definitely help you get through traffic.
Oh yeah, literally.
Not that there's much traffic now, that's for sure. It's quite quiet out there. It's a good time to go driving.
Go for a drive.
The road to Berwick's incredible, and you can get there quite quickly when you do your weekly shop. But on that note, and after a record hour and a half of the Car Sim and Race Driver Show, which has been fantastic tonight, really, really good. Thank you very, very much to our hosts and our guest presenters tonight, Andrew Marr and Jonathan Sutherland, and of course, where would we be without our fantastic audience who've been listening on Podbean and, of course, on YouTube and on the Car Sim and Race Driver Facebook page. Thank you to everyone who has been with us tonight and who has commented as well. You can send us an email at info@hughhatrick.com as to what you thought of the show, and please don't make it too rude. But I'm sure it won't be too bad at all. But
the good news is that we had more viewers than the Steph McGovern show on Channel 4, which is really good. Yeah.
Well, a big shout out to Big Rick, the two Harrys, one with the little H, one with the big H, and Randy Coy.
Yes, thank you for being with us. It's been fantastic to have you on the show. And tomorrow, remember, I've got Josh Martin, the esports expert, and a very, very good racing driver too. He's had a lot of success. So he'll be back on the show tomorrow. That's 12:15 UK time. So that'll probably be very early in the morning over in the United States. But we have many, many viewers and listeners from all over the world now, which is fantastic. So have a great night. Thank you very much for being with us. But you know, there's the saying goes, try fast and try not to crash. We'll see you later. Bye just now.
No interacting with anybody.